Israeli warplanes strike alleged Hezbollah sites in southern Lebanon, violating last year's ceasefire. Israeli media reports drone strike on hotel in Eilat, southern Israel. And US President Donald Trump and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer agree on Gaza peace roadmap, differ on Palestinian state recognition.
كل المستهدفين هن مدنيين.
وضع شيء مرعب، شيء بخوف.
Right, these were the headlines. The news in detail. Israeli warplanes conducted a series of airstrikes in southern Lebanon, targeting alleged Hezbollah military sites, violating last year's ceasefire agreement. The Israeli army ordered evacuations in the towns of Mesil Jebel, Kafr Tembnit, and Debin in Nabtiya. Lebanon's state news agency confirmed an airstrike in Mesil Jebel with no immediate reports on casualties or damage.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
The Lebanese army has reported that Israeli forces have committed 4,500 violations since the ceasefire agreement began. The army added that these attacks have obstructed the Lebanese army's deployment efforts in southern Lebanon, particularly south of the Litani River. The army said it is closely monitoring the situation in coordination with the ceasefire committee and the UNIFIL peacekeepers. Lebanese Prime Minister Nawaf Salam condemned Israel for intimidation and aggression violating last year's ceasefire. He called on the international community, especially France and the US, to pressure Israel to halt hostilities, withdraw from occupied Lebanon areas, and release Lebanese captives. Lebanon reaffirmed its commitment to the ceasefire, contrasting Israel's actions. Israeli media reported that a drone struck a hotel in Eilat, southern Israel, as plumes of smoke were seen rising from one of the buildings. According to the reports, the drone directly hit the hotel in Eilat, southern Israel. For more analysis, we now move to Riham Morsi in our newsroom. To you, Riham.
The current situation, we're joined from Cairo by the international relations expert Hani Gamal. Thank you, sir, for joining us here on Qnews. Firstly, sir, let's start off by asking what are the strategic objectives behind Israel's targeting of the southern Lebanese villages? Yeah, sir, let me try to repeat that question again. What are the strategic objectives behind Israel's targeting of the southern Lebanese villages?
Hello, everyone. I think that what Israel is doing right now is trying to take more land, more than the 7 points that they have talked about before. And so their operations, and they want to gain more trust, and moving the operations from the West Bank to Lebanon is some kind of assassination that Israel is trying to impose on the region. And so this operation today, even though there is an international mediation with the USA support that Hezbollah will be disarmed and that the arms will be in the hands of the government, but Israel not too long ago has been getting ready for two important events. The first one is them winning and their victory over Hezbollah, and the second one that this month on the 27th it is the memory of Said Hassan, and so they are trying to get back at Hezbollah by destroying the infrastructure. And so yes, they haven't waited for Lebanon's actions to disarm Hezbollah and to have the arms in their position only. And so these operations and steps that Israel have been doing in the region by widening and escalating their operations in Palestine or in Lebanon and even in other countries. And so yes, this and in Syria too, this shows that Israel is trying to build a new Middle East, basically, which aligns with the USA's goal that Trump has talked about, and that was confirmed by the latest Prime Minister's visit from the USA to Israel, even after the Arab Islamic Summit that condemned Israel's action. And this will actually cause things to blow up in the Middle East, not just through military operations that Israel has been doing, but also because they have more than 1 point now that they can strike from, and they have taken over a good number of lands. And so these steps and this plan shows that Netanyahu, with his extremist government, is using the current situation to get USA full unconditional support to go forward with these operations. And so and they are using also the maximum pressure strategy like the USA uses. And so Israel isn't waiting for a response or some tactics like what we saw today happened in Jordan. That was them refusing this, basically, and also in Qassam in Gaza a few hours ago, which resulted in the death of Israeli soldiers, around 4 of them. And so and yes, also there have been statements from Qassam that they will not stand still.
Well, sir, this kind of plays into the same idea that you're talking about here, that Israel is operating with complete disregard to human life. Now, Israel uses the method of issuing evacuation warnings via social media. How does this affect civilian protection under the international humanitarian law, especially in the densely populated conflict zones? Is this just a tactic to say that we told you, you didn't move, it's not our problem?
Unfortunately, Israel is using evacuation warnings from planes, and it actually doesn't reach the civilians there, or allow them to leave peacefully and in a good way. So yes, there are some regions that go far, more than 500 meters, and they actually don't reach the people there. But Israel is trying to take even more force in this region, and so they have been having negotiations about what's going on according to the current situation. And so these operations, Israel have been trying to actually to be 2 steps forward, because of the UN's statements, and so Israel keeps on trying with this show that they are putting on, and not just with the Middle East, but also to have absolute power, which we have seen. And they have also, with the forced displacement tactic that they have been using, and using technological arms, bombs also. They have destroyed high buildings, and the ones that were known to have and to be some kind of sanctuary for the civilians there. And so these kinds of buildings are actually some kind of storages for their arms, and that's why they keep on trying to destroy them.
So, sir, it plays into the same idea here. Now, in what ways could the Lebanese government somehow appeal to the international community, the shift in diplomatic pressure, or to recalibrate the US and European position when it comes to the Israeli military actions? Because so far, the Lebanese government has been open to changes, but the Israelis continue to attack them.
Unfortunately, Israel doesn't want peace. Up till now, they have plans to widen their operations and to take over more land of the Middle East. There is they want to demographically change the region. Netanyahu is trying to prove to Trump that he is worth the trust, and that his extremist plans are actually successful, and this is then trying to build a greater Israel, their long-standing dream, as you know. And so yes, here they don't listen to anything that or to anyone that calls to stop these ongoing operations. And so this is why they have breached all the truce agreements like Camp David, or even the UN's decision 1701 that has reaffirmed that Israel needs to leave the 5 points that it has taken over in Lebanon. And so Israel has always tried to take advantage of the situation, and it is doing this now, because now the international community is actually bound down to the USA, and the USA has the upper hand right now, and so they have control over even the humanitarian aid and this is why they're using the starvation tactic as well. And so Israel unfortunately doesn't respect any laws, international laws, humanitarian or the humanitarian international law, even though the Lebanese Prime Minister said that he was one of the people that declared Netanyahu as a war criminal, but that changed nothing. They still went on with what they are doing, and they were some kind of a member in the Security Council. And the international community doesn't really take strong stances here when it comes to these operations that have been long planned for. And so yes, all these plans go with their objective of a greater Israel as their extremist country, and that's why they keep striking different lands in the Middle East. And this is what we saw today. They target specific buildings, and this shows that Israel doesn't or will not stop. And they are using actually their operations to try to reveal some kind of what they say is a lie from the Middle East side. And so yes, they use the media, and they use the media to try to cover what's happening and the truth, and they have breached lots of international laws. And so and unfortunately up till now we have been waiting for a meeting from the Security Council to condemn Israel, but I think that Israel and I think that they will use the veto to try to get out of it and not face the international court, and the USA will support them. And yes, they want to do this so that they can keep him the chair and to have some amendments. And so maybe the latest statements have said that that Israel can actually reach Tehran now more than ever. And so this means that Israel is successful with its plans, and that they will not stop even if they have talked.
Yes, your point there, sir, is absolutely clear. We understand that Israel is moving on with impunity, but thank you so much for your interview there from Cairo. That was the international relations expert, Hani Kamal. Thank you so much for joining us here. And now we go back to you, Mona Musabhi, in our studio.
Yes, thank you so much, Riham, for the analysis. And now we move to the latest developments in Gaza. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati has met with his Saudi counterpart, Prince Faisal bin Farhan, in Riyadh to strengthen bilateral cooperation and discuss key regional developments. The talks, held under directives from President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, focused on deepening economic and investment ties, activating the Supreme Egyptian-Saudi Coordination Council, and enhancing strategic coordination. Both sides condemned Israel's military actions in Gaza and the West Bank, calling for an immediate ceasefire, unimpeded humanitarian aid, access, and broader recognition of the State of Palestine. They also addressed ongoing conflicts in Sudan, Libya, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen, stressing political solutions, sovereignty, and rejection of foreign interventions. The two ministers reaffirmed their commitment to closer cooperation in support of Arab unity, regional stability, and developments. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and US President Donald Trump voiced support for a peace roadmap in Gaza, calling the current situation intolerable. However, Trump stated that he disagreed with countries recognizing Palestine as a state, marking one of the few points of divergence between the two leaders. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has welcomed Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas in Ankara. The meeting comes as Erdogan condemned the U.S. for revoking visas for Palestinian officials ahead of the UN General Assembly, calling the move damaging to diplomacy and a gift to Israel. Turkey, a NATO member, has cut trade ties with Israel and accused it of committing genocide in Gaza, claims Israel denies, asserting self-defense. Hamas has urged worldwide protests this weekend to demand an end to Israel's actions in Gaza and the lifting of the blockade causing severe famine. The group called for demonstrations outside Israeli and U.S. embassies and increased pressure from unions, students and lawmakers. Hamas also warned Israel against targeting an upcoming humanitarian aid flotilla to Gaza, declaring the days ahead as a new phase of international mobilization to stop the war and end the siege. UNRWA Commissioner General Philippe Lazzarini has accused Israel of running a disinformation campaign aimed at erasing evidence of atrocities in Gaza. Speaking this week, he said Gaza has become the center of an information war with UNRWA, other UN bodies, the media and health institutions targeted. Lazzarini cited the denial of famine and dismissal of a recent UN genocide report as examples of attempts to undermine experts' findings and dehumanize Palestinians. He also urged the international community to allow foreign journalists into Gaza to support local reporters whose voices are being silenced amid ongoing Israeli strikes. Israeli tanks and troops have begun moving towards the center of Gaza City, residents reports sparking widespread fear among civilians. Military spokesperson Nadav Shoshani confirmed that after weeks on the city's outskirts, large numbers of infantry, tanks and artillery advanced Monday night, supported by airstrikes. Shoshani said the gradual operations aims to defeat Hamas and increase pressure that could lead to either a hostage deal or rescue missions. The intensified assault comes as hundreds of thousands of civilians remain trapped in the densely populated urban area. The US and Israel have sent complaints to top UN officials questioning the impartiality of UN staff amid protests over the Gaza war. Hundreds of UN workers gathered outside the UN's Geneva headquarters holding placards and laying white roses to honor aid workers killed in Gaza. Israel's UN ambassador condemned the protest as political activism and called for disciplinary action, while organizers said it was a tribute to colleagues. The tensions highlight growing friction between the UN and the US, which has distanced itself from the UN Human Rights Council over perceived anti-Israel bias.
While answering medicine and medical supplies, reach the sick and the injured. Unity in this moment of crisis reflects our unwavering commitment.
The UN Office for Human Rights in Palestine condemned Israel's airstrikes on Gaza, accusing it of a blatant disregard for distinguishing between combatants and civilians. The OHCHR urged Israeli forces to protect civilians amid the intensified ground and air offensives in Gaza City, emphasizing adherence to international humanitarian law. Gaza City's Al-Shifa hospital faces severe challenges delivering basic medical care amid heavy damage and limited resources. The situation worsens as Israel intensifies its ground offensive to seize Gaza's main urban center. Despite Israeli calls for civilians to evacuate, many remain due to fear, harsh conditions, and concerns over displacement. Medical staff describe catastrophic cases and desperate conditions. Jordan's Public Security Directorate has halted passenger movement through the King Hussein Bridge following its closure by Israeli authorities. The suspension follows an attack at the crossing where a retired Jordanian soldier killed 3 Israelis amid tensions linked to the ongoing Israeli war on Gaza. Travelers are advised to follow officials' updates. The UN Special Envoy to Syria, Geir Pedersen, stressed the necessity of insisting on full respect for Syria's sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity. During a Security Council session on the situation in Syria, he emphasized the need to address any security concerns based on international law, the 1974 agreement and diplomacy, noting that the specter of foreign intervention in Syria still looms.
Independence. I'm concerned by Israeli statements on the intention to stay in Syria for the foreseeable future.
President Vladimir Putin stated that Russia is deliberately slowing its economic growth to control inflation and maintain macroeconomic stability. Speaking during a televised meeting with lawmakers, Putin rejected concerns about a recession despite the central bank's report showing 2 consecutive quarters of GDP decline, a common indicator of a technical recession.
Сейчас я хочу деполитизировать этот опрос, да, но во время Вьетнамской войны, Корейской войны.
Barcelona's iconic Sagrada Familia Basilica is nearing a major milestone, with chief architect Jordi Fauli hopeful the glory facade's 4th tower can be completed in about 10 years. While the full project's completion date remains uncertain due to pending permits and local protests over planned modifications, work continues on the basilica originally designed by Anthony Gaudi, who died in 1926. Next year, the team aims to finish the external part of the main 172.5 meters Jesus Christ Tower, which will become Barcelona's tallest building. A special mass led by Pope Leo is planned for June to mark the occasion. A hydraulic rock drill broke through the final meter of rock, opening a 1,400-meter tunnel beneath the Alps that connects Austria and Italy. The Berner Base tunnel, said to be the world's longest underground rail tunnel, is a key EU project aimed at speeding passenger travel and shifting freight from road to rail. Italian Premier Giorgia Meloni and Austrian Chancellor Christian Stocker attended the ceremony, highlighting the tunnel's role in enhancing European connectivity by the early 2030s. Albania has introduced its first AI-generated minister, Daila, in parliament. The AI bot, designed to oversee and award public tenders, aims to tackle long-standing corruption issues tarnishing Albania's EU's accession ambitions. Prime Minister Edi Rama hailed the move as part of Albania's 2030 vision to accelerate reforms and enhance good governance. Daila emphasized impartiality, transparency, and dedication to serving citizens. However, the opposition criticized the appointment as unconstitutional, questioning the legality of an AI holding a ministerial role without citizenship. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin. Here is what we've been covering. Israeli warplanes strike alleged Hezbollah sites in southern Lebanon, violating last year's ceasefire. Israeli media reports drone strike on hotel in Eilat, southern Israel. And US President Donald Trump and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer agree on Gaza peace roadmap, differ on Palestinian state recognition. This concludes our news bulletin for the hour. Don't forget to follow Q News on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok at Q News EGY to stay informed. Many thanks for watching and good night.